Why do games feel so good? Most games being made only tend to focus on one or maybe two aspects, then lean really heavily into it. You don't notice the bumps and scratches with most games because they don't focus on them. If there's an aspect of games you like, there's bound to be a game focused on it. Let's look at some key examples of games that do only a couple things really well. Considering that from 2005 to 2013 we got 9 God of War games, a 5-year break meant they were making something good. And they were. As in 2018 we got God of War again. This game was much less of a hack and slash like the previous games were, and more of a puzzle story game with just cool fighting. In between games, Kratos had moved from Greek mythology to Norse mythology, and the games also have much deeper combat than the originals, since it had a much better console. Not only did the newer games have a big gap in time release-wise, but they also had a very big gap in time within the story, as Kratos had gotten a wife, a kid, a beard, a new voice actor, and a much more calm nature, caring about living alone in the woods with his kid than killing gods. All this comes together to what I think is a perfect game. Just about everybody can enjoy God of War, no matter what type of games they like. If they like puzzles and story, pick the easiest difficulty. If they like a good challenge, there's a difficulty called Give Me God of War. If they're like me who wants a balance between story and combat, they go to the middle difficulty. You can enjoy every aspect of the game in your own way. You can even watch a no commentary version here on YouTube if you want a more movie-like experience. That part gets even more helped by the fact that the game is absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, my potato computer can't run it in its full glory, but I digress. What it can run though is the amazing mechanics that the game has to offer. You start the game with your Leviathan axe, which was given to you by your wife, who died before the game starts. The axe serves as your main combat and puzzle tool. You can throw it to freeze or hit things, including enemies, and recall it right back with the press of a button. This also helps with the heaps of upgrades you can get for this thing, and your bare hands. Yes, this game does what a lot of other games can't anymore, and you can use your bare hands to fight even while you have a weapon. This all gets complemented by how the story has one main goal: spread your wife's ashes across the highest peak in all of the realms. Seems like an easy task, but you constantly get stopped and sidetracked. You have to visit a total of 4 realms throughout the story to make it to the end. Whether you're here for the story, the fighting, the scenery, or the puzzles, you can enjoy this game. It may not be my favorite, but it is, in my opinion, the best. Ultrakill started as a passion project in 2018, led by RC Hikita Patala, and gained a massive following and even a crew when it was released on Steam in 2020. Still being in development, there is so much more to explore whenever it gets fully finished. Even with what we have now, it still manages to have the best movement and gunplay in any game that I have ever played. There's so much variety in every weapon, and they all have unique uses. The chainsaw shotgun can be parried to hit enemies forever, even while using other guns. The magnets from the saw blade and nail gun make for great traps while a boss is still spawning in and can't be hit. The cannonball can make for good, quick damage when it's used right. Coins are good if you're bad at aiming. Everything has a purpose. The movement is just as good. You can go insanely fast with very little effort. The game's boomer shooter and N64 graphics show you don't need realistic textures or a massive team to make a great game. It excels at the only thing it tried to do: make enemies go boom. It's a shooter with good controls, and it doesn't try much else. There's a story, although it's basically optional. You can read books if you want, but other than story for those interested, they serve basically no purpose. It doesn't mark a balance for everyone like God of War tries to, but that's fine. It does what it wanted to do, and it does it fantastically. Among Us may have since become a meme since its popularity burst in 2020 and its release in 2018. But made by the same people that made the Henry Stickmin collection, it's still a good game. It makes you have to decide who isn't who they seem, or try to blend in. It's pretty much all it does. You have to do simple puzzles every time you play, but that's not the selling point. They only exist to get everyone alone, to let the imposters do what they're tasked with: kill everyone and hide their tracks. It's a very simple game that just got hated on after a while. It did what it wanted to, and even if it didn't want to do much, it did it really well. With games doing what they wanted so well, whether it be very little or a lot, it just shows how much you do and don't need to do for a good game. God of War wanted to do a lot, it did a lot. It's a great game. Among Us wanted to do a little, did what it needed to, and it's still a great game. Being a longer video, this was a lot more effort than I usually do for my videos. So subscribe if you'd like to see more of this. Goodbye.